Success don't come overnight. No matter no substance over hype. Do it for the love, me not do it for the life.
Wow. This happens to be, if you're just tuning in, this happens to be take 2 right now. That's what happens when you're doing live broadcast here. Anyway, so this is supposed to start at 7:30. By the way, usually 7 o'clock, but the new time for this year and, for the foreseeable future, the show is going to start on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. as opposed to 7 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. Anyhow, Happy New Year. I'm dressed in my New Year gear, and it's cold here in I'm in Massachusetts, but anyway, Happy New Year. What's good? Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real. I hope you had a safe and happy holiday season. Are you ready to get back on your regular routine and schedule? I know I am. These holidays, man. Oof. Let me know how you feel in the comments. We're live, like I said, so you can let me know in the comments now. Okay? So crickets. Anyway, let me know how you feel in the comments. I'm happy to get back to a new schedule. I'm at the old schedule. Anyway, I'm live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Keeping It Real is your go-to show for personal and professional development, diving deep into fitness, public speaking, networking, and sometimes real estate. I appreciate you joining me tonight, even though I'm late, whether that's live or you are watching from the replay. Watching live, like I said, it's live, so say hi in the comments if you're out there. Let's connect. This isn't just a show. It's the start of a growing community. Together, we can build a space where like-minded individuals can connect, learn, and grow personally and professionally. What's the next chapter in your personal or professional journey? Chime in below and let's kick this journey off together. Hello, I'm Jason Harris, and I'm unofficially the fittest commercial real estate professional south of Boston, but maybe not this far south. Also known as Coach FitPro J, your diet-free fat loss specialist. I'm the coach who talks the talk and walks the walk. I've been there, done that, and now I empower real estate professionals and entrepreneurs to take control of their nutrition and fitness without feeling overwhelmed by keeping it simple, keeping it moving, and keeping it real. Welcome to the weekly live broadcast, Keeping It Real. All right, tonight we're going to start with the core 4 of networking segment. After that, from stage fright to spotlight, the public speaking segment of the show. And then we'll get into fitness success, the 4 pillars of achievement. And if you are new to fitness or just starting your fitness journey or restarting your fitness journey, you might want to stay tuned to that segment. And then we'll finish up with some real estate. Let's get started. The core 4 of networking. Networking is an essential skill in both business and personal development. In the core 4 of networking segment, I break down the key practices for building strong, lasting relationships. Do you know about the core 4 of networking? Can you tell me what they are? They're right in front of you in front of the screen. I'll be breaking down the core 4 1 week at a time. Week 1, show up. Why simply being present can open doors to success. Week 2, be yourself. Authenticity is the key to forming genuine connections. Week 3, pay attention. The importance of active listening and being fully engaged with others. Week 4, follow up. How to maintain and grow relationships beyond the first meeting. What's the most challenging aspect of networking that you have faced? And how did you address it? Or are you still addressing it? It's still a challenge to you. Go ahead and share your biggest networking challenges and how you've addressed them in the comments. In addition to the core 4 of networking, which I will take off the screen now. In addition to the core 4 of networking, this segment will also showcase local members of the networking organizations that I'm affiliated with, as well as other businesses and professionals that are in my network. I'll also provide insights on local networking events that I happen to attend. This week, or this Monday, happens to be week 1. So tonight's topic is show up, why simply being present can open doors to success. Tonight, I'm going to share a couple of things with you. The first thing is an upcoming event that I'm actually going to show up to. Let me share that event with you now. Join Jordan Guadalupe and John Norris for an evening of powerful business strategies covering mindset and legal insights. Learn how to define success on your own terms, build a success-focused mindset, plan for business continuity and succession, transfer your business to the next generation, and more. This next level value packed event is going to take place on Tuesday, January 14th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Cranberry Country Chamber of Commerce. That address is 9 Clayton Road in Middleborough, Massachusetts. Don't miss out, especially if you're an entrepreneur that's winging it. Seats are limited. Scan the QR code to reserve your spot on Eventbrite. If you are an entrepreneur, what's one area that you'd like more guidance on? Mindset, legal planning, or succession strategies? Go ahead and share your answer in the comments. Someone will follow up with you. Okay, that was the first thing. The second thing is this past Saturday, I recorded. Well, you know what? Why don't I just show you? All right, let's bring him out from backstage. And let's rearrange this stuff here. All right. Welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm thrilled to have you guys, both of you here, Jordan Guadalupe and John Norris. Before we do dive into the topics that we're going to talk about for your upcoming event, could each of you share a bit about what inspired you to pursue your respective fields and what you do? Good, Jordan, you first. Ladies first.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, so when it comes to coaching, as you know, they say you coach who you used to be, right? So growing up, I always had very low self-esteem. It started early in elementary school. I just never felt like I was smart enough. I always had a hard time keeping up with my peers, couldn't get my work done, couldn't focus, those kind of things. And in retrospect, I probably had a learning disability, but that carried with me through adolescence and even my early adult life. But around the time I graduated college, I discovered the law of attraction and manifestation and things like that. And it really opened up a world of possibilities to me. Something about it just really spoke to me. And I think part of it is that the ownership aspect. I realized the part I was playing in my own misery, and that all I had to do was master my inner world. And at that point I could be, do, or have anything that I wanted. So I think knowing that there are other people out there that feel the same way, there's so much untapped potential out there. People just need help. They need, somebody to sort of guide the way. But everybody can be successful. Everybody deserves success. And yeah, I think it's just, knowing what that feels like and being able to help other people reach their full potential is really inspiring to me.
Awesome. All right. So that is what got you into what you are doing, into the mindset manifest coaching. Awesome. And then, okay, John, Mr. Estate Attorney, talk to me. What got you into that?
Outside of my family and my country, I've always had two loves. I've loved science. I love knowing weird things about how the universe works. And I've loved the law. I love how we as a society structure ourselves in order to ensure order and a fair interaction with one another. When I was in the Army, I went for an undergrad degree, which I needed to become an officer. I became an officer in the 182nd Infantry. And when I went for an undergrad, I went for something that I thought would be fun for me and beneficial to the military. So I got into biochemistry. Well, I left the military after over a decade of service. And when I got out, I needed something to do for a job. And so I started working in laboratories. And I loved where I worked. The places were great. The people were great, but I really wanted to work for myself. Working for yourself as a biochemist is kind of hard. Opening up a lab is very expensive. And so instead, I went to school at night while I was working as a biochemist and became an attorney and decided to open up my own law firm. So I know it's kind of like a weird all around thing. But now I built myself out as a trust nerd. I love learning about trusts, how they function. I love about estate plans. I love helping families and business owners preserve what they have and then pass on to the next generation, either the value or the business itself or whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. And for me, it's kind of like everybody who walks in is a new story. They have a new idea of what they want. And so one thing Jordan and I were talking about, and I love about her approach that's similar to my approach, is it's a very holistic, personalized experience for everybody who walks through our doors. And we really want to take care of them and their family however we best can.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I mean, it really does begin with humans, right? We are all humans. So
Exactly.
why not take that approach? It just makes the most sense to me anyway. All right. That's awesome. Thanks for your service too, John, by the way.
My
That's
pleasure.
huge. I have some questions now. Let's start. Jordan, your presentation focuses on defining success and the importance of mindset. All right. Can you share how you help people identify what success actually looks like for them and why it's such a critical starting point?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about our personal values, and everybody has their own that are unique to them. So you kind of want to look at big moments in your life and sort of think about, what made these moments so important, what made them so impactful, those kinds of things. And then when you sort of analyze it, you can pick out your personal values from there. What are those values that kind of showed up? What's that pattern? And once you kind of get there, you can see, all right, well, are these values present in what I'm doing now? And if they're not, you need to find ways to incorporate them, or maybe you're doing something that really isn't aligned with your values at all, and you need to kind of reconsider that. So it's an important starting point because that's what's going to motivate us, to get to the finish line. If we're living somebody else's dream or just going by what society says is success, you're not going to get too far. So, I mean, that's kind of a foundation for your success.
No, that makes complete sense. I mean, why not get some intrinsic motivation? That's what's going to help you keep going when it gets difficult, right? I mean, to do what you like is also important, right? And you'll be able to continue to do it as well and have a much better time.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything to say about that, John, what she just said?
Yeah, when Jordan and I first started talking about doing this kind of event together and trying to reach out to people, we were trying to find synergies between ourselves. And this attempted approaching mindset, it goes back to that holistic approach I was talking about before, is really that personalized individual thing. Because when you have someone who's a really good business coach like Jordan coming to you, you don't want her to assume that your success means dollars. Because dollars is definitely something that is part of success for most people. But even in our ad, we actually have an ad on YouTube to just being funny about it. But it's not necessarily about the dollars. For me, it's more about creating a quality of life, both for my family and for my community, where they have a reliable, independent person who can actually help them. You got to call at 3 a.m. You're like sweating about something crazy and you just have a legal question. I want them to feel like they can actually reach out to me. And so that's not a dollar thing. That's just success to me, is having a business where people value what I do and feel like what I'm doing for them creates more of a value and protection in their life. So when Jordan talks about success, I know everybody runs to the dollar, right? The almighty dollar. And don't get me wrong, there's zero wrong with that. If your strict definition is, I want to be a bajillionaire, great. That's not a problem. But for most people, when Jordan and I were talking about, the deeper you get into the idea of what success really means to you, those dollars are a means to an end. And for me, that end is community and family.
No, that's awesome, John. I have my own view of what success is too. And I looked into it, like, what is success? Success to me, yeah, like everybody says money, right? Well, no, money ain't everything. Money is a means to an end, like you just said, John, right? So I'm looking at freedom of time. Freedom of my time is success to me. Doing what I like to do in freedom with my time. And yeah, money takes us, you got to get to a certain point, and then after that, what is there? It's freedom of my time. So yeah, that's awesome, Jordan. So you help people define what success is for them. I think that is an important starting point for that intrinsic motivation, so you can keep going when times get hard. So this is awesome. All right, John, for you, from your perspective, how does understanding one's definition of success influence business planning, especially when structuring a business for the future?
So when we're talking about strict structure, if you are building your business in order to protect your family, let me give you an example of one that doesn't. If you have a side hustle and it's just kind of a thing, you go to craft fairs and you sell things, that's awesome. There's absolutely zero wrong with that. Your success is probably just going to be entertainment, making a couple bucks on the side and having fun doing it, right? But if your success is really something where you're protecting your assets and others, then you may want to consider not doing something like a partnership where you are jointly and severally liable for everything you and your partner does in that business. You might want to avoid being a DBA because it doesn't really offer you anything in the way of protection. It just kind of gives you a name placeholders like my name is. And you want to start looking towards things like LLCs and C Corps to try to provide yourself, your personal assets, a degree of separation on the legal world so that you can have protection against any lawsuits coming up. So your definition, both of what you want your business to achieve and what the success in that business is, helps you to get an idea of which structures are best to choose from, especially if your level of success is you want to be like a global, international business with lots of investors. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to be an LLC because then you can't create different shareholder types. You can't create different incentives for people to invest into your business, not to the degree that you could for a C Corp. And so it all really depends on where your success lies and what you want to do. Norris Law PLLC, my company, is an LLC, but it's also a PLLC, a professional limited liability. And that's one that's kind of like a subclass of LLCs. I don't think I'll ever get much bigger than maybe a few attorneys and a bunch of assistants in the area. Maybe we'll branch out to an office or two. But that to me would be successful, right? Because that's more than enough to support my family and my community. I don't need to go up to like a crazy C Corp or anything crazy like that. So it's your definition of success and the path that you want to take with your business will help you with the structure. And then as far as what happens when either you are incapacitated or no longer with us, in those particular instances, your definition of success, do you want to pass your business on to the next generation? Or do you want to just pass the value of that business? Maybe like my children, my daughter and son, I have a 13-year-old boy named Ben and my 11-year-old daughter named Zoe. And neither one of them are interested in being attorneys. They think I am a paperwork wizard. Like they have no cares whatsoever about it. So for me, when I pass, I would really appreciate if I could find somebody who'd be interested in purchasing my law firm and taking all the clients that I have and take care of them and then provide some of that value back to my family, maybe in a life insurance policy or something along those lines, buy-sell agreement. And by doing that, I've taken care of my family, I've taken care of my clients, and I haven't lost the value of my business by just letting the business collapse.
Well, okay, so it really does make a difference what your definition of success is, dependent on what structure business you should build for the future. Like you said, your children don't want to be attorneys, so you're going a different route. So what if your children did want to be attorneys? Then you would go a different route. I got it. All right, oh, that's awesome. All right, so Jordan, you'll also be discussing why beliefs can keep people stuck. What are some common beliefs you see holding professionals back, and how do you guide them in rewiring their mindset?
Great question, Jason. Yeah, I mean, it always boils down to I am not enough, some version of I am not enough. And there are a lot of ways to rewire the brain. I use a lot of different techniques. I use some mental fitness training and some NLP techniques and practical manifestation training. But to be a little more specific, the first step is always becoming aware of your beliefs and your patterns and things like that. So you have to build mental muscle in order to be ultra present and aware of those things. So there are different meditation techniques that you can use in order to do that. It's just like going to the gym and doing reps. It's just mental reps to strengthen your mind. Another thing is visualization. It's super powerful. A lot of people use visualization to rewire their brain. Professional athletes do it on a regular basis. Seeing yourself doing the thing and feeling like you're doing the thing just strengthens that circuitry. So when you strengthen that circuitry, the habits kind of come naturally, and then the behavior becomes regular for you. Another thing is, being aware of self-talk too. So you want to be aware of what you're saying to yourself when nobody else is around, and deliberately choose other language. Again, it's kind of similar to the visualization aspect. Having that repetition is going to create new neural pathways, which are going to create new habits for you.
Awesome. It's kind of a little bit like fake it till you make it in a way.
Yeah.
Thoughts become things, they thoughts first in your subconscious, then they become reality, sort of. No, that's awesome. What do you have to say about that, John?
Yeah. We're talking keep it real. Let's keep it real for a second. When I first became an attorney, I would just start off on my own. I didn't join a law firm and learn from them. I did it on my own. I started on my own. And the number one mental block that I had, as much confidence as I exude as an individual, is I had imposter syndrome, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And the result of that was I priced myself well below market, thinking that my personal value, my legal knowledge, was less valuable than that of others. And as I've been going forward, I'm not going to compare myself to anybody else, but I will say that my legal knowledge is sufficient enough to get everybody high quality products. I just lacked the confidence to get there. And so having someone like Jordan to kind of walk you through, especially new entrepreneurs, this is, endemic in new entrepreneurs. You start a business, you're like, what the heck? I'm not really this guy. I can't do this thing. Well, let's keep it real. Talk about it. Talk to somebody who knows how to handle this stuff. Get your mind in the right place. And then that'll lead you to a more successful career.
No, Zach, I find myself, I've changed language like Jordan was talking about. And when someone's like, oh, well, what are you doing with this? Well, instead of saying I'm trying to do, no, I'm doing. I'm not trying, I'm doing. And I actually correct people if they say I'm trying to do this. I'm like, no, you're not trying. You're doing. You're doing right. This. It's like that. So no, that's awesome.
Yeah. Just one more quick thing. And for you young entrepreneurs out there, or even if you're older entrepreneurs, if you're getting into the game now, when you go to do networking, Jason talks a lot about networking. I've seen him at networking events. The dude's a wizard. When people walk up and ask you, what do you do? Your response shouldn't be, I'm an attorney. Your response should be, I'm a financial planner. You should have something in your mind that sets you out from everybody else. And when you keep saying that line over and over again, I help families plan for the future to make sure that they are taking care of themselves, their children, and then everybody around them in the community. That leaves a lasting impression, and then it makes them want to know a little bit more about you. So if you can come up with something, a financial advisor I was talking to, I came up with this tagline. I thought it was funny as heck. I asked what their personal experience was and what they wanted to do. And they wanted to work with higher end clients, with people who had a lot of assets, and they wanted to manage like the big accounts. And I said, great. So you want to be a king maker. You want to be a queen maker. So when someone asks you what you do, I say, I'm a king maker. I'm a queen maker. I'm a person who makes people's dreams explode upwards. And so when you do stuff like that, you're talking yourself up. Like Jordan was just talking about, when you talk about yourself in that reference, I am a king maker. I am a person who helps families. That gives you the self-confidence to kind of start working in that way and become more successful.
Absolutely, because changing people's lives. You change people's lives for the better. You do. It is. All right, I got another question for you, John. In the context of estate planning and business law, do you notice certain misconceptions or fears that hold people back from making essential decisions, such as creating a succession plan or a buy-sell agreement?
Yeah, a lot of people, there's two major ones that I would have to say off the top of my head. The one that is probably the less known, but is a little more funny, is people think that the minute you put an estate plan, a business succession plan, or something like that in place, the universe will collude to make it happen right then and there. You are going to pass away that week. You are going to become incapacitated and go to the hospital. There's no correlation to that from my experience. The minute you put a plan into place, that doesn't mean it's going to come to fruition. That is not what I've experienced. The second one is thinking that it is difficult to put a succession plan into place. As part of your succession plan, we're going to sit down and discuss things like what happens if you get hit by a car and you're incapacitated? Do you have a power of attorney? Do you have someone who's cross-trained that can do your job? Do you have somebody who has access to your emails, passwords, ways that you can get a hold of your clients? Can you have someone who does that? I can't. I have an assistant. She can access my emails if necessary, but that's really about it. And so she's my sister-in-law. So if we're at a family picnic, we both get hit, we're kind of in trouble. There's a whole lot of things that go into it, and people think it's actually difficult and complex. It takes a couple of hours to go through it, talk you through the process. And again, like Jordan's method and my method, it's very personalized and holistic. We look at every part of your life and try to make sure that we understand it so that we can make a really good comprehensive plan for you. And that's one thing that I wish people would understand a little bit more about the process is you're going to get a plan for you. It's not cookie cutter. It's not copy and paste. It's really meant to be for your specific business, your family, and where your situation is at this moment.
Awesome. That was interesting. People think that when they make an estate plan or something's going to go wrong. Talk about superstitious, huh?
I have an individual who has been a contact, I'll say, because they're not technically a client of mine, for well over a year now, and their fear is if they come in and sign the documents that we've already drafted, they're already ready to go, that they're going to die. Wow. And it's like, well, yeah, you are someday. We all do. There's no, but it's not like you're going to sign it and that will trigger your death unless somehow you slam the pen in your eye or something. I mean, that's like, unless it's some weird freak accident.
Oh man, no, Final Destination.
Exactly.
Oh my. All right, so Jordan, I got one for you. Rewiring the brain for success sounds powerful. I know it is. I've done it. So can you give us a preview or give the audience a preview of some practical techniques or strategies attendees will learn at the event?
Absolutely, yeah. So like I mentioned before, starting with building that mental muscle, regular meditation is huge. You're training your brain to be present, and you're essentially kind of being its boss. And when you don't do that, your mind is on autopilot, and you could have a lot of self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors going on. And so it's your job to take control over that and choose what you want to think and believe and feel. So the meditation really helps you to kind of catch yourself. If you're in a negative thought pattern or something like that, you catch yourself in the moment and stop, and then, make that pivot. Another thing I talk about all the time is visualization. As I mentioned before, it's really huge for rewiring your brain. And it's more than just visualizing. It's really feeling into the experience and embodying it that makes it so powerful. And then another thing is, we're on the topic of embodiment, is creating an alter ego of the person that you want to be. You mentioned before about faking it until you make it. And that is kind of a thing here. You want to think about all the qualities of, who is the successful version of Jordan? Is she assertive? Is she, how does she carry herself? How does she act? How does she think? And when you get all these details together, you can really step into that identity and embody that. And when you do, you're, again, creating new circuitry, and you're changing your way of being. And it becomes a habit, and it's huge. I mean, Kobe Bryant was really famous for that, his Black Mamba alter ego. So yeah, it's a really cool technique.
No, you're right. I mean, I think you said it. As far as visualization, it takes more than just visualizing it. It's the feeling, emotion, right? Emotion, energy in motion, emotion. You know, you got to have that. That's the glue that puts it together, right? That's
Exactly.
exactly. So it's not just visualizing, oh yeah, I'm gonna no, you actually gotta feel it, like for real. Uh
Mm.
anyhow. Do you have anything to say about that, John?
I was actually just going to bring up a really funny example of an extreme of that. Does anyone remember Dwayne Johnson?
Oh,
Dwayne the
come on.
Rock
Yes.
Johnson?
Of course.
It's so if you think about it, he came out as Rocky. He was a good wrestler. He was physically fit. He was good. He's charismatic. But it wasn't until he was The Rock and he started talking about himself in the third person. It's almost like he was talking about an idealized version of himself, and then everyone was just associating that back to him. And so it's kind of like what Jordan was talking about: is you got to create your Rock, your Black Mamba, and then try to become that individual. And also, I mean, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it can help you identify some of the shortcomings that you need to work on in order to achieve that reality within yourself. So that's, yeah,
No, it's
great
all
tip,
about
Jordan.
personal and professional development. That's what this show's about. All right. So John, I have
Yeah.
a question for you. Succession planning involves preparing for the future. What practical steps will you share at the event to help business owners ensure their operations continue seamlessly, especially when they're looking to retire or exit, and not necessarily, sign estate papers and feel like they're going to die?
No, I mean, honestly, I want to make people aware of the dangers of having no plan in place. The first one is that upon your incapacity, the business can suffer tremendously, and that loss in value may never come back. Imagine shuttering your doors for 3 months. You lose all those clients. If you have ongoing contracts, and then people kind of lose confidence in you because you've been gone for 3 months. And it may be no fault of your own, but it's just human nature. The same thing if you pass away and your estate has to go through probate. I won't go in deep through probate, but it could be a very long process, especially if there's a challenge to a will or if there's a contest of some sort. And a proper estate plan can get your business passed outside of probate or maximally outside of probate so that operations aren't hindered. And even if you decide you just want to put it through probate, there are ways to kind of make it so that the next in line can kind of step up and take over operations. So again, this is all depending on what the person wants to achieve and how willing they are to hand off assets. But you definitely want them to think about those two major gaps: the incapacity step and then the point where they pass away. Because at either one of those steps, you're not just losing that individual's capacity or their life, but the business itself may suffer and eventually collapse just from the lack of that leadership, especially if you have somebody at the top who's really proactive in the business, really kind of runs things. Because at that point, nobody can run it for you, you know?
It kind of reminds me of when you're building a business. A lot of people, I don't think of this, but are they building the business to sell one day, or are they, what happens when they leave the business is my point. It's like when when the person actually leaves the business, does that business still run or does it not? Because if it still runs, you can sell that thing. It's still running.
Right.
If you get out of it and it does not run anymore, that is not a saleable business. Different
Right.
story.
And that's the thing, is you want to minimize disruptions and you want to maximize the ability for the next person to take over in the interim so that either the incapacity can pass or you can find somebody who can replace that key person so that you're no longer disrupting your services. And you want to narrow it down to like specific names if you can, or where you're going to source that person from, because it's going to have to be a short turnaround as soon as it happens. Having those in place and having people understand what the process is an incredibly powerful tool. Doesn't take very long to put in place, doesn't take long to teach people. And then once that's in place, again, as soon as something happens to you, that individual that's running the business, you can come back from your incapacity and your business is still alive, or you could pass on knowing that your value that you left within that business is not just going to be lost to time. You're going to be able to pass it on to somebody else.
No, that's huge. Being able to have that in place, because if you you have children and you want to pass on the value at least of the business to them, if you don't have what you're talking about in place, then the value may go down because you're gone for 3 months with the door shut or what have you. No, that makes complete sense. Jordan, success often begins with a strong personal foundation. How do you see mindset work completing professional or complementing professional achievements like those like those John helps his clients secure. So how do you see mindset work complementing professional achievements like those John helps his clients secure?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like what you said. It's all about building that strong foundation. I think when people think about business success, their mind automatically goes to hustling. I have to work hard. I have to close sales. I have to make connections, do this, do that. But they tend to forget about building a foundation that will support them for success. And I think even though they're, two different modalities, what John and I do is about building that strong foundation. In terms of mindset, everything starts in here. Your business is going to be a direct reflection of your inner world, because everything starts with beliefs. So if I had a disempowering belief, that belief is going to evoke negative feelings. And then those negative feelings are going to cause disempowering thoughts. Those disempowering thoughts are going to cause self-sabotaging behaviors. And then it will result in what we don't want, which is being stuck and failing and just not getting to where we want to be. So in terms of mindset, it's important to kind of be aware of, your inner world, be ultra aware of your beliefs and your thoughts and your behaviors, and taking charge of how you show up in the world. And again, with the two, the legal aspect and the mindset, those are going to give you a foundation to start with. You won't have to worry about all these bumps in the road later on.
Yeah, I see a big, huge, blaring pattern here. Starting out, foundation, right? Foundation,
Yeah.
Foundation of mindset, so that when stuff does get difficult or tough, you're resilient. You can get through it because you have that intrinsic motivation and you have your values and everything. You're aware. Perfect, right? No negative self-talk. You're doing meditation. You're aware. You're on point. And then the foundation, as far as law is concerned, with John, you need to have these documents and things in place and these structures in place for what you want to happen in the future to materialize the correct way, or it to happen right. So having those two foundations, you're pretty much unstoppable, it seems. I mean, John, building on that, do you find that individuals with a growth focused mindset are more proactive in seeking legal protections, like power of attorney or addressing buy-sell agreements?
Oh my gosh, I wish that was true. It's quite the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, the average person that comes in for business succession, at least in my experience, has been your mom and pop shop, 50 to 60 years old. They're starting to look towards retirement. They're starting to worry about Medicaid. They're starting to think, where am I going to hand this business off to? They've been building their entire lives, and they're so personally invested in the business. They see the value of it. Growth-minded people tend to think, I got to make that next dollar. I got to grow to the next thing. I got to get, and then they find themselves later on, either when they're stricken with incapacity or death, or when something, usually it's a triggering event close to them, husband, wife, mother, father, something happens to them. And now they're starting to think about the possibility of their mortality and their limitations of their capacity. That's when they start to come in. But growth-minded people tend to not worry about that part. They're more worried about the progression forward than they are about having a safety net if they fall.
Wow.
And so it's everybody who owns a business should have a plan, no matter how small or complex it gets. Even if it's just hey, I have a small shop off on the side. I just want to make sure my son gets it or my daughter gets it when I pass. Fine, no problem. That's a simple, easy plan that we can work on. But it should still be there. So that way your children can get that value without having to wait forever to get it, or facing some sort of a legal challenge, or having to get tied up in court. Sadly, very successful people tend to focus on the success and not so much on the protection.
Yeah, I need that back end. Yeah, back end. All right, so Jordan and John, finally, for those tuning in today, what's one takeaway or compelling reason they should attend your event, if it's not apparent already, at the Cranberry Country Chamber of Commerce on January 14th? Jordan, for those tuning in today, what's one key takeaway or compelling reason they should attend?
Yeah, I think again, it's that learning these things is going to give you the foundation you need to be successful. You can start without them, but I wouldn't recommend it. You know, this is where success starts. And so I think, especially with the value you're getting, the fact that it's free, it's a no-brainer.
I agree.
Just to add on to that, I think that when people make their business to begin with, especially new entrepreneurs, they make a business plan. And sadly, two of the places that they tend to leave out of that business plan is how to keep their mental health up so that they can continue to run their business and make it successful, and how to take care of their business should something happen to them. And that's what we're representing in this, is that the aspect of business that most people just tend to forget when they make their business plan. And I really wish they would come and just see how they can include this into their business plan to make themselves even more successful.
No, this was awesome to have you both on, because I mean, again, foundation, right? Usually people come to both of you, or would come to both of you after the fact, right? After they hit roadblocks. And why do that? Why not start strong so you don't have to backtrack, right? Get that, get with Jordan, get your mind right. Get your mind right, because that's going to carry you through the hard times, because hard times are going to come. Stress is inevitable. It's going to happen no matter what. Might as well be prepared for it. Have that mindset. You could get so much clearer on your messaging and what you're trying to do with your business and for yourself and for success and happiness and your joy in your own life. Get your mind right, right? And then, John, I mean, things happen in life, right? We die, not after we sign estate planning programs, but we die, things happen. We want to pass stuff on. We got government looking to take no, I won't say that. So it just makes sense to, why not head it off at the pass in the beginning? Get stuff structured right. Get your mind right in that way, in the sense of preventative maintenance for something that's going to happen. Why not head it off at the pass? A little bit of preventative maintenance, right?
Yeah. And you can always, if situation changes, you can change. You can go through it with Jordan's, like, hey, I want to bring on a partner. This is stressing me out. How do I make sure that they're not going to cloud my vision and make it different for me? Or if they decide later on that, child 1, child 2, excellent, they're awesome. But child 3, scumbag, I want them out. You can change your plans as you go along, and your business needs to change. I mean, if you look back in history, one of the biggest reasons why things like Maytag, Macy's, and some of these other places dwindled from their market share is because they refuse to change over time. Your plan is a plan. Plans change. I don't know about anybody else, but I got a 1, a 5, and a 10-year plan for my business, and it changes every January 1st. I go back through, I review it, I see if I hit my goals, and then I go back and I redo the whole thing again. So, I mean, your plans will change. Your estate plan could change. Your mindset may change. The definition of your business success may change. So how do you change to adapt to that?
Oh, that's perfect. That makes sense. Any last words on that, Jordan?
No, I totally agree with John. Once you have your mindset right, everything else falls into place. I always like to say, though I don't mean it literally, success is 80% mindset, 20% action. And it's not to say that action isn't important, but action without a powerful mindset isn't going to get you the same results. So yeah, it's something that more people really should prioritize. And I see it becoming more common these days, but without an empowering mindset, you're going to have a struggle. It's going to be a struggle when it could be a lot smoother. You could be in the flow. And that's what we want at the end of the day, to be in the flow and have everything go the way we want it to. And like John said, even if you hit bumps in the road, you've already built that resiliency, so you can handle it.
No, exactly. So again, get your mind right, and then get your paperwork right, and then you'll be all set. You'll be good. But no, I appreciate you. I meant to say Happy New Year to both of you too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. 2025, right? That's why I'm wearing my New Year's type of shirt here. I had to, for the first show of the new year. And I appreciate you guys being on the first show of the new year too. This was awesome. and I'll see you at your event too. I'll be there. Again, I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run this ad too right after I have put you guys backstage. But again, Tuesday. I'm not. Which day is it here? I get the wrong day. Good thing I can edit this thing, right? No, I won't edit it. But this is called keeping it real. So we're gonna keep it real. All right.
Hey, mistakes are part of the process, right?
Well, it is Tuesday though, but it is Tuesday, January 14th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we're here in Massachusetts, right? And it's at the Cranberry Country Chamber of Commerce in Middleborough, Massachusetts.
Yes.
So thank you guys for being on the show, and I look forward to having you guys on again at some point. I appreciate you guys. I will see you on the 14th.
Sounds great, Jason.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here I am. Okay. That was awesome of Jordan and John to take time out of their Saturday to pre-record that segment for us, wasn't it? We appreciate you, John and Jordan. We do. I'm looking forward to showing up to this event. Don't forget to sign up. I actually still need to sign up. Speaking of events, let's not forget about this event that is happening tomorrow. Oh, that was not the event. Oh no, where'd the event go? I'm telling you, this live stuff here. Let's see if I can find that event. I found it. Okay, so let's not forget about this event hosted by Easter Seals, Massachusetts. It's happening tomorrow. Experience everything the Bridge Center has to offer on Tuesday, tomorrow, January 7th, from 3 to 6 p.m. at their family-friendly community open house featuring free trial classes, meet and greets with the barn animals, crafts, a campus scavenger hunt, and opportunities to explore programs, volunteer roles, and careers. The Bridge Center is located at 470 Pine Street in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. They provide a wide range of programs year-round and welcome individuals of all ages to enjoy enriching experiences and opportunities for growth. The 22-acre campus consists of a beautiful pond, a vibrant equestrian center, a fun splash pad, vast outdoor fields, and more. You can learn more at the website scrolling below, bridgecenter.eastersealsma.org. Again, that's tomorrow at the Bridge Center in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Okay. Next Monday, January 13th, will be week 2, and the topic will be yourself. Authenticity is the key to forming genuine connections. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please get in touch. I'd be happy to have you. Or if you see me at a networking event and want to get on camera, just pull me aside and we'll make that happen. Next up, from stage fright to spotlight, public speaking segment of the show that was designed to help you master this crucial skill. Whether you're speaking to a large audience or just in front of a small group, this segment of the show will give you the tools you need to shed the stage fright and step confidently into the spotlight. Tonight's segment will be brief. I only have a couple of things to share, and that ain't one of them. First up, the goal of this segment, from stage fright to spotlight, is to provide you with content that helps you improve your public speaking skills. To that end, I've been working behind the scenes to secure some special guest appearances for future segments. So stay tuned for value-packed segments coming your way in the coming episodes. The second thing I have for you is an open invitation to an upcoming virtual Toastmaster meeting. If you don't know what Toastmasters is, let me explain that for you. Toastmasters International is a nonprofit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills throughout a worldwide network of clubs. I belong to the Spirited Speakers Club out of Middleborough, Massachusetts. We currently meet virtually on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month. Want to experience a virtual meeting? Again, it's virtual, so in whatever state you're at, it doesn't matter. Comment Spirited, and I'll send you the link to join the meeting. The next meeting will be the first meeting of the new year, this Wednesday, January 8th, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss out. Comment Spirited, and I'll share the meeting link with you. You can simply observe in the background. We'll make you feel comfortable and welcome, but participation is optional. No pressure. Just relax and enjoy the experience. I hope to see you there. Next up is fitness success, the 4 pillars of achievement. Each week, I alone or with a guest will break down a specific pillar to help you build a balanced, sustainable fitness routine. Week 1, Pillar 1, nutrition habits. Master your nutrition and fuel your body for success. Week 2, Pillar 2, practical strategies for managing life's inevitable stressors. Week 3, Pillar 3, physical activity, tips to stay active and energized no matter your fitness level. Week 4, Pillar 4, recovery is key. Learn the best ways to rest, recharge, and avoid burnout both in and out of the gym. Okay, so this is week 1. So it's the first Monday of the month. Our focus tonight will be on Pillar 1, nutrition habits. As we kick off the new year, let's focus on building something that can truly transform personal and professional life, good nutrition habits. First things first, what aren't nutrition habits? They are not a diet. What do I mean by a diet? Well, check this clip out. Briefly touch on it, okay? You start off, chronic participation in diet programs, detox challenges, etc., over and over and over again. And you end up doing what? Depriving yourself, okay? And lose some weight, of course, but you're still loose. It's not quite the effect that you wanted, especially with all the deprivation. And then what ends up happening is the diet ends, right? And when the diet ends, you revert back to the pre-diet eating habits, okay? Because you never learned anything new. You just know how to restrict, and that's it. And then as a result of that, you rebound and you put the weight back on and some, usually, okay? Then you feel miserable and heavy again, and you're worse off than before. And let's go ahead and complete that cycle now, okay? There you go. Then you go and you do it again and again and again. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. That's exactly what this is. Okay. Fad diets don't work, but you started another one anyway, and you get caught up in this cycle. Okay. That's what I mean by the cycle of dieting. What we want to do, though, is we want to break that cycle and never diet again. In order to do that, do something different. Okay. Do something different. Have you ever fallen into the cycle of dieting? Comment and let me know if this sounds familiar. Now let's talk about breaking that cycle, doing something different. Let's talk about breaking the cycle with something more sustainable, good nutrition habits. Did you know that you already have nutrition habits? It's true. They're the consistent patterns of the foods that you choose to eat daily. That's all it is. The question is, are they the right patterns for your goals? If you want to feel fit, focused, and energized this year, it's time to learn and apply the correct ones. What are good nutrition habits? They are consistent food choices that support your health and overall well-being. Again, what are good nutrition habits? Good nutrition habits are consistent food choices that support your health and overall well-being. It's not just about feeding the hunger. It's about nourishing your body. I wonder if you ever heard that from me before. That's the difference. But what is the difference? Nourishing your body means fueling it with the nutrients it needs to thrive, not just survive. Let me explain how you could do that. Choose whole foods over processed foods. Whole foods are nutrient dense, while processed foods are often nutrient deficient. So pick whole foods over processed foods. You already got a leg up there. The next thing, don't cut out macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fat. Okay, every macronutrient, protein, carbs, and fats, play a vital role in your health. Do not cut any of them out. Cutting them out, cutting out one entirely can actually create imbalances and issues. Instead, aim for a variety of nutrient rich foods. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate is the next thing. Okay, water is essential for almost every function in the body. Staying properly hydrated supports energy, focus, stamina, digestion, and nutrient absorption. Pretty important stuff, huh? It also helps flush out toxins, speeds up recovery, and it keeps your muscles and joints functioning well. Who doesn't want that, right? Water is crucial for everything from energy to muscle recovery. You can get a ton of benefits from hydrating properly, and it's easy to do. Pro tip, start your day with a glass of water and then keep a bottle nearby to sip throughout the day. It's one of the simplest ways to make a big difference in your health this year. If hydration is one of your goals for 2025 and you don't drink enough, I've got something to help you stay on track. Drop a comment below that says hydration, and I'll send you my free hydration guide to make proper hydration a breeze for you. That concludes this segment for this evening. Remember, building good nutrition habits isn't about restriction at all. It's about consistency. It's not about a diet or a quick fix. It's about making choices that fuel your body and goals time and time again. It's not about cutting out carbs, fats, or protein. It's about eating a balanced variety. And don't forget, proper hydration is the secret weapon that ties it all together. Let's make 2025 the year we prioritize health, consistency, and well being. We'll be better off for it. From home, you can help shape future episodes of this segment by answering this question: which of these four pillars, nutrition, stress management, physical activity, or recovery, do you feel you need the most help with right now? Not only that, any questions you have on any of these, let me know so that I can answer you in future episodes. Or if you're live right now and you want to answer a question by the end of the show, go ahead and put it in the comments. All right. So leave a comment below. And remember, that goes for those watching the replay too. Next Monday is week 2. So we will be discussing Pillar 2, stress management, practical strategies for managing life's inevitable stressors. Interested in being a guest and joining the conversation or having your question answered right here live on the show? All you have to do is ask. Comment below. We'll make it happen, even for those catching the replay. Now let's move on, keeping it moving to the final segment of tonight, the real estate roundup. The real estate roundup segment keeps you updated on the latest in the real estate world. Whether you're interested in residential or commercial, this segment's got you covered. I'll invite guest experts from time to time to share insights and discuss the subjects that you want to hear more about. If you didn't already know, I'm with JNS Realty Group. All right. We also work with residential real estate brokers. So if you happen to be a residential real estate agent in need of commercial expertise, we'll work with you. Please don't hesitate to contact us for assistance. What real estate topics are you most curious to learn more about? Residential, commercial, or something entirely different? Maybe it's about one of Janus Realty Group's services. I really appreciate it if you'd shared your thoughts and what you'd like to hear about in the comments for future episodes. And if you're watching on the replay, your input is just as valuable. Like I said, your feedback will guide in creating future content. Okay, thanks for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real. Kind of got started off a little late for the first episode of the new year, but live TV, that kind of happens. Like I said, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Every week, we'll dive into important topics that will help you grow. With a mix of fun and practical advice, from nutrition habits to real estate, public speaking skills to networking strategies. This show is designed to inspire you. Keep it real, of course, and of course, keep it fun. Tonight, in the Core 4 of Networking segment, I had some special guests on. Manifestation coach Jordan Guadalupe and estate planning attorney John Norris. They have their event that I will also be showing up to on Tuesday, January 14th at the Cranberry Country Chamber of Commerce in Middleborough, Massachusetts, 9 Clayton Road. Then in the public speaking segment of the show, From Stage Fright to Spotlight, I shared with you that I have been working behind the scenes, and I also invited you to visit one of my next Toastmaster meetings, which happens to be this Wednesday, day after tomorrow, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So comment Spirited under this video, and I'll get you the meeting link so you can come and join in or just check it out. In the fitness success segment, we cover good nutrition habits and hydration so that you can kick off this new year correct. And if you have any questions on the fitness side of things too, don't hesitate to reach out. Then lastly, I communicated to you the services of my commercial real estate brokerage and consulting firm, Janus Realty Group. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a comment about it. Even if you didn't, let me know. I still want to know. All feedback is welcome. If you arrived after we started, or if you missed any of the details, don't worry. You can always check out the replay. Before we end tonight's show, I have one last thing to share. Every show will end on a high note with a funny meme or short hilarious video to keep you smiling. Please stand by for this week's funny moment. That was great. Thanks for joining me this evening. I can't wait to see you for more Keeping It Real. Be sure to leave your comments, share your thoughts, and don't hesitate to get involved. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and keep it real. Enjoy and have a safe and rest of the week. See you next week on Monday, January 13th at the new time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you next week.